What is up, everybody, from the AT&T 5G virtual studios? Welcome on into Group Chat presented by AT&T. I'm Susannah Collins. So happy to see my guy, Stephen Keel. How you feeling today, buddy?
Susannah, I am feeling great. It is Friday, which is awesome. We have MLS all weekend long, which is even more awesome, and get to hang out with you. So ready to do it. Let's go.
What could be better? We've got some amazing games lined up this weekend, too, which we are going to talk about shortly, so you don't want to miss it. But guys, this is Group Chat, if you didn't know, and we want to hear from you. So hit us up on that Group Chat hotline, 401-206-0MLS. Keel, I don't feel like we're getting a lot of people reaching out on the hotline yet. I feel like I don't know what we need to do. I'm kind of feeling like the loser friend in the group chat that's just not really bringing much to the table at this point. Right.
It's like when you go home and check your voicemail and it's like, there are no new messages. You're like, well, dang it, that stinks. We just need people out there. Just call. I mean, even if you just want to be like, hey, my name is, Mark.
We will give you a shout out.
It's like, Mark, Mark, awesome. 100%. Thanks for joining us. Let us know who your favorite team is, your favorite player, anything you want to talk about, just drop it in there. Anything. Yes.
We are here for you. Okay, Keel, let's get to our question of the week. Now, this is a good one. This came courtesy of Fox Soccer. They tweeted this out on their Twitter account. And I love this question so much because this can go in so many directions. So the question is, if MLS had a silhouette in the logo, who would be the player and what stance? So, like the NBA has their their guy. Who is that? Who's that guy in that picture?
I believe it's Jerry West, I think.
Is it Jerry West? Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
You
won a prize. So if MLS were to do something similar, what would be some of the ones that would stand out to you?
Well, I think, we had some of the great responses. We had, I think you look at the star players, Beckham, Landon, Henry, Valderrama. You can go down a list of who's. But I think for me, I think Landon's probably the natural choice just because, he has a trophy. He's the MLS MVP.
But what pose?
He is Mr.
What pose would he be doing?
That's a great question. I think it's got to be one of those, like, these iconic, fist clinch celebration, or maybe holding hands in the air with the MLS Cup trophy because I think he's won the most of those. So something like that.
Who's had an iconic bicycle kick? Has anyone had an iconic bicycle kick? That would be pretty cool, right?
So
that
here's
would be a dope silhouette.
And this is who I think is a cool one is Marcelo Balboa. He had the bicycle kick goal for Colorado, but I don't know if this story is very well known. Is when the league was first being formed, and that they were talking to potential owners. All the owners were like, "Look, if Phil Anschutz is in, we're all in." And Mr. Anschutz had not yet committed, but he said, "Okay, I'll be in if you can get me the guy who did the bicycle kick in the World Cup on my team in Colorado. I'm in." So essentially, the league's existence depended on Marcelo Balboa leaving Mexico where he was playing to come play in MLS. So you could argue, is Marcelo Balboa the most important player in league history?
Tremendous shout, Stephen Keel. Oh my God, I love that for so many reasons. Marcelo is number one. He's a legend, an incredible human being, and also that ponytail in silhouette, you know what I'm talking about?
With the bicycle kick. So he has the silhouette, which is going to be awesome. He has the backstory, and then obviously what a player he was for the national team, for the Rapids. So I think Landon, Marcelo, those are two at the top of my list.
Great shouts. Let's see what some of the fans submitted.
Yes. There we go.
The Thierry Henry casual lean. I actually kind of like that. That's if we were going for a cool factor, that would be it. Let's see. What else? What else have we got?
There's
Landon. That's a good one. That's a decent one of Landon, right?
Yeah. Just, after scoring a goal, I think that, Alexi, listen. Again, I mean, part of the earlier days of MLS, but I mean, what a player. He gets so much for his iconic look, but he was a tremendous defender.
Oh, God. The face-off between Beckham and Q. This is just like, this really is a very iconic moment in MLS history, I feel like.
There you have, David Beckham, and then a mascot from San Jose having some choice words, if you will.
Beef.
Beef, yes. Oh, there he is.
Valderrama!
My dude.
God, he is incredible. You know what's crazy? Like, I met him at Copa America back in 2016. The dude, like, he looks exactly the same. Like, hasn't changed. And the hair hasn't changed at all. That's just,
this is a tough one to beat. Yeah, Steph Wright. An MLS Cup, I mean.
That
post,
you know what?
all,
Shoot. That's
whoever
phenomenal.
captured that picture is phenomenal, by the way.
Right? Look at that extension,
so
man. Hand of God.
So
just. Was that a Josie Altidore shot? Oh, Clint.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. This is hard. This is really
listen,
tough.
It's the who's of MLS, and I mean, you can't really go against Deuce, right? I mean, the dude was so special in so many ways, and
I know.
Dang it. I think you would lose a little bit of the facial
lost?
expression in the silhouette.
Exactly. I was just going to say, you wouldn't get the tongue.
if somehow in the silhouette, can we carve out just a spot for the tongue? Can we do that?
And that really makes the picture. Let's be honest. Wow. Oh, I mean, guys, well done. Great submissions. I feel like any of those would be worthy of an MLS silhouetted logo. Keel, I'm a little disappointed nobody selected you, because
I know.
I think, and similar to Valderrama, El Pibe, you got the curls. What if it was like the three in the pocket?
Yeah.
Even Keel.
Maybe that's just what it is. It's just
right?
like, just holding up three fingers, right? And I think that could be a cool little silhouette, right? You never know.
Missed
I'm into
opportunity.
It, though.
I like it.
I know.
I like it. I'd vote for it.
I appreciate you.
Great work, everyone. Okay. All right, Keel. This is we got something to talk about. Okay. And that is there was a little beef, coaches beef this week between one Jim Curtin and Gabriel Heinze. Okay. So we saw some CCL action this week. Philadelphia facing Atlanta in leg 2. Philly ended up advancing after a 1-1 draw against Atlanta. And then after the game, at the post-game press conference, Jim Curtin did not hold back. He didn't mince his words about Gabriel Heinze. Basically, he called him an a-hole and a sore loser.
Okay.
Now, and so they had exchanged some. You can see that in this video. Like they had exchanged had some pleasantries during the game. And I think Gabriel Heinze was taking maybe an exception to some of the Philly players, perhaps maybe a little time wasting going on down the stretch. I don't know. But, this is part of the game. We see this all the time, but we don't see often a coach just straight up calling out another coach and, name calling essentially. And I'm not mad at it, Keel. I kind of enjoy this narrative that is being built now. Because, these two teams are going to face off again. I think they play against each other on June 20th. So like, there's going to be some heat behind this, and I kind of love this. I feel like we don't see enough of this because they're thinking it. They're thinking what Jim Curtin is thinking.
Yeah.
They just don't say it. But Jim said it.
They don't say. Yeah, I think it's kind of, the same thing with players is after the game, you kind of like, I don't want to say take the high road, but you just kind of give, your answers. But I think we've seen this a couple times with Caleb Porter and Oscar Pereira, little tissue gate, if you will. We saw it with Tata Martino and Chris Armas kind of refusing to shake hands. So I think when it comes to it is, you look at Heinze and obviously Jim Curtin, both two competitive guys, right? They're competitive just as much as the players are. So I think the Heinze frustration probably comes from the result, obviously not what they wanted. And I think that he's frustrated with that. The time wasting, like you said, you see it in a lot of games, so it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. But I agree. I like Jim Curtin, and if you're the Philadelphia Union, if you're a player for that, you like him kind of sticking up and being like, no, like this is how we're gonna do it. Like, no, we're nobody's. We're here. We just won, so yeah, I'm gonna stick. I think, and you see Bedoya in the clip as well had the best quote. He said Heinze was asking, wanted to know where to get the best cheesesteak in all of Philadelphia. So a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of humor in there and all that. But I think you're right. From an outsider's perspective, this is great, right? We love seeing this stuff.
So great. It's so great. And the reason I like this too is because Jim Curtin is always one of these guys. He's so composed, like he's an incredibly articulate guy. I never feel like Jim Curtin has been very like overly emotional. And even when he said these things in the press conference, it was like a very measured tone that he had. But for him to put that out there publicly, he was pissed, like he was feeling something. And I just I feel like we're seeing a very bold Jim Curtin in 2021. I mean, he's rocking the hoodies, he's rocking the kicks. The guy is like, don't mess with me at all. And then I also like this because Gabriel Heinze, this is his first year as head coach of Atlanta. He had this reputation coming into the league as a super, super intense guy. Like if you read anything about him, it was like, the dude is like super fiery, really intense. And so I think that we are getting a real taste of what his coaching style is like in Atlanta. And I kind of like it because I feel like that's what they need in Atlanta as well. So I'm just, I don't know. It was one of those, I was watching this all unfold and I was like, oh, this is entertaining as heck. And I like this. And I want to keep this little narrative going, and it's fun. It's just fun. Because look at us. We spent 5 minutes talking about this.
Yeah, exactly. This is great. Fans love it. They love to get, each team, Atlanta fans are backing their guy. Philadelphia is obviously going to back their guy. But it's good. And like you said, I mean, Heinze as a player was a very, he was emotional. He was fiery. He was an incredible player. And played at the highest level of some of the biggest clubs in the world. And same with Jim Curtin, he was a fearless defender back there for a great career in MLS. So you just see it like these guys they have this in them. And just because they're on the sideline coaching doesn't mean they still don't have emotions in the game. There's so many times after a game, you get into it with the guy, during the 90 minutes. And sometimes, like right after the game, you're like, I'm not ready to shake your hand just because that whistle blew. I sometimes, you need a few minutes to kind of, and eventually you kind of come around like, look, that it was part of the game and you kind of move on. I think Jim Curtin has even kind of come and said in the press conference, obviously people still want to talk about it. He said, that's in the past and we're moving forward, but I can't wait till these two teams meet again. And I cannot wait for that post-game handshake and what happens.
What do you think? What do you think he's saying to the guys in the locker room immediately after this game? Like, have you ever been in that situation as a player where like there's been maybe a little incident and the coach comes back into like, is Jim Curtin fired up to his guys? And it's like,
I think Jim Curtin's fired because it's an emotion. Like having that exchange with the other coach is emotional. Then you come in and you see like the coach is probably like obviously being on the winning side is like, let's go, like that's a great result. On to the semifinals. He just kind of has that energy about him. So I think he came in, was pumped about it, and just like, obviously proud of his team for getting the result. So I think he comes in, he's like, let's go. Like, that was a great result. Proud of you boys. Let's celebrate. And then we're on to the next one.
This is so good. Oh, I love it. More of this, please.
Yes.
So much fun. All right, Stephen Keel, time now for our AT&T 5G call to the field. And we caught up with gamer Run the Foot. He is hosting an El Trafico watch party on Twitch this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's check it out. Well, we are so pumped to be joined by Nick Run the Foot Market Bartels. Nick, welcome to Group Chat, man. How you doing?
Hi, guys. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Great, Nick. We're pumped to have you here. But before we get too far into the hard-hitting questions, we got to ask you, because I know it's a long-standing debate. Is it foot or FUT? You have it in your name. What are you going with? I know. Listen, I told you.
I think I say foot.
Okay. So you're going with FUT.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that, but it doesn't mean it's right.
Okay, perfect.
I appreciate you clearing that up because I feel like I am all over the map with that word in particular. Whenever I'm dealing with the FIFA guys, I'm like, FUT card. And then I kind of like do a hybrid of it to just like, cover my tracks. It's a nightmare. So listen, according to you, it's FUT. That's what we're going with. I love it. Nick, you are going to be hosting a watch party for El Trafico this Saturday on Twitch. Can you tell us about it? What's this all going to involve?
It's going to be crazy. So we're going to watch over the game with my community. Obviously, anybody within the FIFA scene or the football scene that wants to come watch can. It's the biggest game. For me, I think LAFC, LA Galaxy, no matter what, no matter the records, every single year is the biggest game in the MLS. So
best rivalry in MLS?
100%. And I'm from New York, and I know the NYCFC Red Bulls. That is the biggest one. I'm going to say it. It's a statement, but I'm really excited. We're going to watch the game. We're going to see what happens. It's just going to be a nice watch along. It's going to be nice and chilling, and I'm really excited for it.
Coming in hot.
I love that. From a New York guy as well.
Great.
Yeah. Wow. LAFC's biggest rivalry. Okay. Listen, it's going to be such a good game. I think everyone can agree upon that. But for me, Nick, I'm curious, kind of getting a little personal, taking it back for you. You talked about your community, which is massive. So engaged with what you do. I'm curious, kind of take us back to when it all kind of started. How did you kind of get into the scene? How did you kind of become a streamer, a content creator? What was that like for you years ago? So
I've been playing FIFA since FIFA 12. I was even on Twitch watching a streamer or two when it was called Justin TV, which was way before Twitch, right? But obviously the same website. And I played FIFA 12, FIFA 13. I never really thought of content creation or anything like that. Then I went to school. I just finished 6 months ago from Columbia University. I played Division I there. So we're done. We're officially a graduate, which is great.
Let's go.
Congrats.
And yes, guys, it was a huge grind because I don't really know how I started. I mean, I got involved in the Twitter community back in 2016, which is FIFA 17, because I had always had this like fundamental way of I was never spending money on FIFA, and I was using the market to really gain advantage with the virtual side of it and build these cool teams. So I really, one of my friends was like, how do you do this? Right. So I helped him a little bit over the time of FIFA 17, kind of make a good team. And he couldn't believe it. Right. So I was like, wow, I got to go help some people. So I made a Twitter and that's my name, Run the FUT Market. I made a Twitter and, because I think at the time I'm 17 or 18 and I think I am running the FUT Market. I got, a couple million coins. I'm like, wow, this is such a great name. And, at this point, we're just going with it. But yeah, that's how it started. And then I had, I think 200 to 300 Twitter followers that I was helping out within a couple of weeks, which was great growth. I never really did any of those giveaways and it just went quick. And then these guys were telling me I have to go on Twitch TV and I'm like, what's Twitch? And then I open up Twitch and I'm like, wait, this was Justin TV. Like, I know what this is. And so yeah, for a year or two, I'm streaming off my Xbox console, in my dorm room at college, no face cam, Turtle Beach mic. And it's just really crazy because, I was very consistent with it. I think that's my biggest thing with streaming is that you have to be consistent if you want to make it a thing. You have to grind. You have to be there when things are going on. And I just stuck true to it. But I'm going to tell you, the balance was really hard for a long time when I was training really to be a serious athlete at the time. And I was trying to, have this community that I'm creating and I'm trying to somehow still pass school. It was a very hard balance. So I made it work, and that's kind of the story. I mean, I think a lot of my community knows that, but happy to share that and I guess show that hard work really does pay off if you can find a way to balance it all. So yeah.
So okay, you were a student, you were playing college soccer, so you're balancing your studies. You're also playing sports, and then you've got this like gamer identity as well. How the heck? How do you balance that? Yeah. Like what did your typical day look like? And then now that you have graduated, like, are you spending way more time gaming, playing FIFA? Like how do both of those scenarios look?
Yeah, when I was getting mixed up in it, it was a lot. I would have training in the morning at around 9. So we would get on like a 7:30 because we're in the city. We would get on a shuttle because our training facility was a little bit more uptown. So it'd be like a 7:30 wake up. Sometimes I would have a video scheduled the night before to go up in the morning just to make sure everything was rolling. Because then I started to get the YouTube going after about 6 months of streaming, and that's a whole other commitment. and we could talk about that in a little. But yeah, so it was crazy, right? 9 a.m. probably finished training, back on campus at 12. For classes, I would be pretty much done with my classes I would have 4 or 5 days of class a week. Those were usually between 1 and 4, 1 and 5. And then, I would really, probably actually get to spend a little bit of free time, maybe a chunk, an hour or so outside for the day with some friends, then eat food. Then I would grind, right? Then I would stream probably from like 7 to 10. And then I would do like an hour or two homework, and then I would go to sleep. And that's what it was for me. Pretty much Sundays were my I need to get rest and energy day for this 6-day week. And it was a really big grind for about a year or two. And I guess now, now is less, with obviously less school. It's more work, but there's definitely a little bit more flexibility. I think I've got some more time now to finally focus on just like, I like working out. So having more routine with that. And a little bit of time to watch some sports and just kind of chill out a little bit more. It is still a grind, but it's not as crazy as it was. And I think it was a little too crazy.
You mentioned crazy, and I mean, we're talking about going to universities, Columbia University, right?
Yeah, that's no joke.
It was very hard.
It's not just just some school around the corner or anything. So, well, listen, man, congrats on graduating. That's awesome. I think you've mentioned a couple times grinding and putting that time and stuff. A lot of people that watch, YouTube, whatever, Twitch, watch yourself. They say, I want to do what Nick's doing. What advice would you give, kids out there that aspire to be content creators, to be streamers like yourself?
I think, again, as I mentioned, I think consistency is a really big deal. I think you have to enjoy it, and you have to try to have, key moments where you are, I know I just said it, but really enjoying it. I think you have to make it a grind that is one that is making you happy, because as you guys both know, it's not easy to be, when you're presenting, it's not easy to do that for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
So you can't really hate what you do. You got to like it. You got to enjoy it, because when you're on air, you're having to be presentable to whether you have 1 viewer or 1,000 viewers. You have to be presentable. And I think that's challenging. So it is a very big grind. I think you have to be aware of just what are the risks of where it could take you, because you never know who's going to blow up. And I think you have to be prepared for that, where it could get crazy. And then, people are going to expect you to be streaming every day. You can't, you really can't take days off when it gets to that. I mean, I take a day off a week. I think balance is really important. But I think consistency probably, though, for the people that are looking to grind.
I'm so I've covered EMLS for the last 4 seasons since it started. Stephen Keel as well, and every year this community just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, guys are winning big amounts of money, large amounts of money, and this has become a career for people. And back when I was a kiddo, and playing my Super Mario, whatever, never would I have imagined that I could have somehow created a career out of gaming. But that is a path for so many of these guys, yourself included. Is this going to be your focus from here on out? Are you going to kind of stick with the gaming thing?
It's tough to know. This is my 5th year doing it.
You've got a degree from Columbia too. I mean, you've got
right.
a pretty decent fallback plan.
It's tough to know, guys. Honestly, I like what I do. I've been doing this for 5 years. I really don't know. Right now I'm kind of just going with the flow. I think the next year is going to be really nice for me to kind of just get I've already started to, but get kind of my first really kind of full-time year under my belt of this, and really see, really what it's like when it's just this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for me, I love challenges. So if it gets to a point where, this is something that I've got in my structure and I have more time, maybe I take on some other challenge. Don't really know what that would be. Maybe some sort of playing. I don't really know. I'd have to see. It's all a balance. And I think for me, myself needs the time to just do this for a little bit, but
sky's the limit is
right. We'll see.
Saying.
So many options, man.
Thank you guys for the hype, by the way. I appreciate it. I don't need it.
You're like, I'm not panicking. It's fine. Everything's fine. Totally.
Love it. Well, listen, let's take a little bit on the field, so to speak. And I'm always trying to look to improve my FIFA game. Everyone knows it needs a little bit of help. So for you, can you maybe give us some, what are your go-to MLS FUT items? Some of the players are they're either overpower, whatever, maybe you got to have these guys in your team from the MLS. What for who are you picking?
This year I really enjoyed. I think it's Long from Red Bulls' center back card.
Yeah.
He's got a great card this year. I was using him in the beginning, and I think all-time favorite. It's got to be one of Ibra's versions. Those cards were amazing. We don't have them this year yet. I'm hoping, they do the flashback with Milan, but this year, I didn't really get around to using the flashback Chicharito too much. My go-to is always Vela. Last year during Team of the Season, I picked up. He had like a 96 item, so I'm hoping that. We get some sort of really nice special card. He's got a record breaker, I think, that some of the MLS guys are using this year, but I'm hoping for a little bit more of a boosted one as some of the other cards are getting better this year.
Solid advice. I love it. Okay. El Trafico, obviously happening. You're hosting the watch party. When you look at LA Galaxy against LAFC in FIFA terms, which team would you say has the edge?
I probably would go with LAFC.
Okay.
In FIFA. I think they're a little bit faster, and I think they have a couple probably higher rated marquee players that are a little bit better. I don't know if Chicharito's base card in FIFA is great. I think some of his special boosted ones are really good. So I don't know if we're in a kickoff setting, if we're doing it, if I'm going to go with Galaxy.
Okay. So you're going Vela. You're taking the Vela cards over Chicharito. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll have to see it. We'll find out on Saturday. Yeah. With your watch party, there's going to be giveaways. You got some swag from LA, LAFC. So teams, both fans of both teams, points, gift cards.
That's a lot of FIFA points.
Yeah, right. That's a lot of money to the MLS store as well. So some cool things going for sure.
The giveaway stuff was great. I love the sign items. For me, I'm such a nerd with collecting. So I think any type of sign item. I think we had signed boots and gloves even. That stuff, that's awesome to do.
That is great. Do you have like a prize, like something like signed items? Like what's your, is there something you're like, this is pretty cool that I have? Something that's autographed or anything like that?
I have two pretty crazy ones. They're not I say football, but soccer.
Okay.
We'll go with both.
Fair.
I'm a football guy.
Totally
I would either say I have a Deion Sanders Falcon signed jersey.
Oh,
okay.
And I have a Kevin Durant Seattle Supersonics signed jersey.
Oh,
so those two are my coolest ones.
Sick.
Yes, those are my favorites.
Dang.
That's okay. All right.
I don't have them in the backdrop because they're different sports, and I think it's a little less relevant.
That's cool. I'm glad we could talk about that though, because that's quite a flex.
It is a flex. It's a big flex.
Right?
The Colombian thing was a super flex.
Well, that's my little hobby. I love collecting these. I really do. I love them.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a little hobby that I have.
That's very cool. Okay, before we let you go, Nick, we want to get your prediction on the actual scoreline of El Trafico. What is going to be the final score of this game on Saturday?
Let's go with. I'm going to actually take the Galaxy. I'm going to say 2-1.
Wow.
I'm going to say 2-1 Galaxy.
Wow.
I think Chicharito is on fire. I don't think
where I thought you were going.
I know, and I said I was going to take LSU FIFA, but I'm going to go with Galaxy. Let's do it.
All right. Chicharito. Nick, thank you so much for coming on Group Chat. Have so much fun at that watch party, man. Enjoy it.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always a pleasure.
All right, Stephen Keel. Well, speaking of El Trafico, that is just one of many incredible matches that we have to look forward to this weekend. So let's preview some of these, but let's start with El Trafico, all right? Because we're on that topic. This is Saturday, 8 p.m. on Fox and Fox Deportes. This is a matchup that historically has always delivered. It's always fun. There's always big moments. And I feel like heading into this one, I don't know what's going to happen. Because the Galaxy started out this season so hot, right? But then they just got whooped by Seattle 3-0. LAFC, they only managed to get a draw against Houston. We've got, Carlos Vela, will he play? Won't he play? I mean, there's a lot of questions surrounding this game. What do you think is going to happen here?
Well, that's a great question. There's so many storylines, but you're right. This game always somehow delivers in one way or another. There's always a ton of goals, right? I think in the 9 meetings, they've had 47 goals between the two teams, which is incredible. 5 goals a game. Like you said, LA, they ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw with Seattle, who looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think this game is a good chance for LA, especially the Galaxy, to see who they really are. They had the first 2 games, 2 wins, Chicharito scoring goals for fun. They go up to Seattle. goose egg up there. They let 3 in on the other end. So it's kind of like, are we, is LA, the team that everyone was so happy after the first 2 weeks is saying they're back.
I know.
They're here to stay. And then they kind of run into Seattle. So I'm interested to see how this game plays out. But again, on the other side, will Vela play? Will Vela not play? Bob Bradley's been pretty tight to the chest, as you would expect. He said he could be involved. And everyone's just like, I have no idea if he's going to play. So
yeah, no clue.
It'll be interesting if he does play. But if he doesn't, I mean, you still look, they still got players all over the field. Defensively, they've been so sound. Diego Rossi, exactly, came back last game. But defensively, LAFC is very, very sound. Goalkeeper, center backs, Atuesta and D Midson in front of them, so solid back there. But I think it's a chance for LA, the Galaxy. I think more importantly to make a statement of who they are this season.
I agree. I think that's a really, really good assessment. I think, I really want to see the Carlos Vela versus Chicharito. I want them both on the field for this. Like, I want to see it. It's just, I'm dying for it. So I'm just keeping.
This would be Chicharito's first El Trafico matchup, which is hard to believe because you're like, oh, wait, but he didn't play in last year's game. So you're right. Can we get Chicharito? Can we get Vela? That would be amazing. I think that just ups the level, but it just seems like these games, Big Fox this Saturday. Nice little 8 p.m. matchup. Sign me up for it. But anyways, regardless, these games have different intensities to them, these rivalry games, especially when, LAFC. So the level for any of the guys on the field, it's gonna be heightened.
Yep. Indeed it is. All right. Oh God, Keel, this next one also going to be a ton of fun. Orlando taking on NYCFC, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Okay, so as we recall, these two teams faced off in what was, I can say 100% with conviction that this was the craziest match I have ever seen in my life. So Orlando knocked NYCFC out of the playoffs last year in a game that literally had a bit of everything. There were red cards, the craziest penalty shootout you will ever witness in your life. Rodrigo Schlegel comes in after Pedro Calese got sent off. I mean, and makes this save, but then everyone thought the game was over, but then it wasn't because they still had to kick him. It was just, I mean, the emotions were very high. And you know what is great is that NYCFC are still salty about this. And they have talked about this leading up to this match. Like Anton Tinnerholm literally said, they're not over it. Ronnie Dyla was like, we deserved to win that game. So there is serious chip on the shoulder on NYCFC's part heading into this one. And I feel like it's going to be extra spicy. And I like it.
Extra spicy and extra good, if that works. You look at the teams, both teams, good form. Both are near the top of the Eastern Conference standings. I think for Orlando, Nani just keeps doing it, right? Banging in bangers. No big deal. Another goal of the week for him. So he's leading the charge. With Orlando, they got Mauricio Pereira back last year, missed the first 2 games for suspension. He, to me, they're a different team when he's on the field for them. So kind of, shaking off a little bit of the rust in the first game, get him back, hopefully closer to full fitness, get him back in form. They'll be flying. And then you have NYCFC, who I think, like you said, has a chip on their shoulder, the way that they went out in the playoffs last year. But again, they're coming off 2 big wins. And for me, one of the most impressive players I've seen from them is Jesus Medina. He's got 3 goals on the season. It just seems like it's a new version of himself, but not only is he producing, but his work rate is out of this world. Hat tip to Tom Bogart, our colleague, for he tracks, how much ground players covered. And in week 3, or last week, he covered the 3rd most of all MLS players, almost over 7 miles covered. So one of your, as a defender, as a teammate, an attacker with that kind of quality who does the work rate, you love to see that. So so it should be a good game. It should be feisty, if you will. And it may just have an early playoff feel, if you will.
Oh, I definitely think so. I also think that, like, aside from the chip on the shoulder that NYCFC have about this particular matchup, I think that they have a chip on their shoulder in general. I feel like they feel like they're very overlooked in the East. And I don't disagree. I actually I think they're one of those teams where, like, I have a hard time. I'm like, they could be really good, or maybe they couldn't be good. And so they kind of always, like, fall in the middle for me. And they're kind of like, yo, hi, we're here. And they're doing, they're off to a great start this season. So totally fair.
I think you're spot on.
And warranted.
Right? Because, the people want to talk about Columbus, Atlanta, Orlando, the Revs even, and everything. And you kind of see it's kind of odd that a New York team could kind of maybe almost fly under the radar a little bit. Is
right? Exactly. But they are, like, I think that they are very overlooked and underrated. So just putting that little nugget out there for y'all to chew on. Let us know how you feel about it. Hit us up. Hit us up on the hotline. Huh? How about that?
Is New York City FC flying under the radar?
Yes, let us know. Tell us. Okay. Oh, Keel, next one is right up in your wheelhouse, because we're talking about the Texas Derby. It is. Dallas taking on Houston Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Univision, 2DNA, and Twitter. Who's gonna take home El Capitan? And this is an interesting one this season because both teams have identical records, 1-1-1. Dallas coming off a huge offensive performance against Portland. They put up 4 goals. So we got to see sort of that explosiveness of the Lucci attack, which is always entertaining as heck. And then, Houston, we talked to Zarek Valentine, potentially a dark horse team in the West. Could be. I don't know. I'm not mad at what I'm seeing from them. What do you make of this? Especially having played in these rivalry matches, Keel.
I really, really appreciate you pointing that out, because I was like, do I start off with saying that in my 3 years with Dallas I never lost to Houston, or do I end with that? I'm not sure where I implement that little fun fact.
How about you bookend it? You start with it and you end with it. Just give people
right.
a reminder.
So there's that little nugget of knowledge. But I think for Dallas, and one of the great things, and it's always so fun, is it just seems like they have so much youth, and again you see it, and guys get sold over to Europe or and different things, and there's a new crop coming right in. I think we saw this past week Dante Seeley on the board, 18-year-old. Ricardo Pepe made a start, 18-year-old. Tanner Tessman, 19. Paxton Pomacle's coming back. He's a little bit, just on a minutes count, if you will, kind of playing the last half hour, so to speak. But he's starting to look sharp, and you're starting to see why there's, such big hype around him with the national team, with other clubs abroad. So it's just so fun and enjoyable to see these youth movements. And it's just like, there's another homegrown. Oh, there's another homegrown scoring a goal. So that's always great to see from Dallas. And then on Houston, I think, we did talk to Zarek, and again, he talked about under Tab Ramos, kind of, a little bit of growing pains in the first season, and kind of finding who they are, understanding Tab's system. And I think you can start seeing that in the first 3 weeks. There's been some positives for sure. There's been some negatives, of course. But I think things are overall better and trending in the right direction. Defensively, they've been actually pretty good. Tim Parker's been solid. Obviously, Zarek's been great. Zarek, our boy, friend of the show.
So good. You talk about workhorse. That is Zarek Valentine. That guy just doesn't stop. Doesn't stop moving. He's all over the place.
He keeps going. But I think this is also, we talked about the Galaxy before, kind of being like a kind of a little bit of a statement game. I think this is a statement game for Houston. I think anyone that looks at Dallas kind of understand who they are as a team, as a club, as an organization. I think this is a good chance to kind of Houston to put their foot down and say, look, this is what we're about. This season, or last season's in the past. This is a new season. And no better way to do that than deep in the heart of Texas. So sign me up for this. I'm always up for a little El Capitan battle.
El Capitan. Yeah. Love it. Okay, next up, Keel. And this is a good one. This one always delivers. Portland taking on Seattle. Cascadia Cup rivalry, 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC and ESPN Deportes. Okay. Obviously, this is one of the storied rivalries in MLS. Yes. We love this so very much. And Seattle are so good yet again. And it's one of the, and like, I don't know why I would ever think that like maybe they would fall off a little bit, but that's literally what I thought heading into the season. I was like, well, no way, no Jordan Morris, and then hello, they are literally, they look in such good form.
Right. Portland,
a team that I've been really high on. I had them very, very high up in my preseason predictions. It's been a rough go as of late. They just got knocked out of CCL.
Yeah.
They had that bad 4-1 loss to Dallas. So there's, it's kind of like two teams coming in from very different positions at this point. Worth pointing out, though, this is at Providence Park. There will be a limited number of fans allowed in, and we know what a difference maker that can be for the Portland Timbers.
Yes.
If you've ever been at Providence Park when there are fans there, it is something else. I mean, from my opinion, the best atmosphere in MLS, hands down. So, they have that's definitely a plus for the Portland Timbers. But I'm just looking at this matchup, based on where these two teams are at right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried for Portland. Seattle are flying.
On paper, you look at it coming in. I mean, I don't. Seattle is absolutely flying at the moment. What form they're in, and they look to have figured it out front to back. And again, Portland. And I think Portland's a little bit of with the CCL travel and the games and trying to manage CCL and MLS regular season. They're resting players here, so it's a little tough. To take any real stock of who they are based on just the schedule and the amount of games they've played. But I think, again, I think everyone's so high on Portland because of the depth, because of the players and the quality. So it's going to be tough coming back. They played in Mexico City, coming back, but there's no better way to get back into the game and to make a statement that, hey, all right, the CCL, the early, season woes are behind us, then to bring in your biggest rivals in front of your fans at your home place and get a result. So, it is tough, but these games, you just, having played in these matches, you just kind of throw the records out and that it's going to be a battle and, so it's going to be great. But we talk about Seattle a little bit. We reminisce if we didn't. Where do you start and where do you end? From front to back, they're on fire. And they've been doing all this without essentially Nico Ladero, one of the most important, best players. He's now back into the team.
I know.
Rui Diaz looks like he's going to challenge for the Golden Boot. And you look defensively, Nuhu is like one of the best defenders in all of MLS through 3 weeks and stuff. But no, he's actually been fantastic. He's just been. He's like locked down that left side defensively. He gives you and he gives you stuff going forward. So, and then obviously we didn't even mention Steph Fry, and goal and stuff. So I think front to back, you're just like, where's this weakness? Oh, and Christian Roldan. So you just go each person. You're like, this team is so deep. It's so good. And it'll be fun. When these two teams meet, they don't like each other, right? The fans don't like each other. The players don't like each other, which makes for exciting games for us to watch.
I know. I'm really, really excited to watch this one. I think, like you said, regardless of the way Portland have been playing, or them being fatigued from all the CCL travel, I don't think this is going to be like a blowout either way. I just think it's going to be a battle, and I can't wait. That's it. Cannot wait. 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Guys, check out the rest of the schedule for our MLS weekend. It all kicks off tonight. Friday, we've got, I know, exactly. We've got a good one. RSL against San Jose at 9:30 p.m. on ESPN Plus and DAZN. And then on Saturday, this is one we didn't talk about, Keel, but I'm looking forward to it. Red Bulls against Toronto, 1 p.m. on ESPN and TSN in Canada. I'm calling this the Chris Armas revenge game, Keel. You know what I'm talking about?
I like that. Yeah, he makes his return back to New York. And this will be a good game. It'll be interesting to see Toronto's newest, Jefferson Soteldo, see if he makes his debut. So massive signing for them. So I'm excited to see him on the field. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And obviously, anytime a coach returns to somewhere where he was, or a player returns, it's always a little special.
Whew. I love it. And then, of course, guys, we can't look past El Trafico, LA. Galaxy taking on LAFC, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. That is on Saturday night. I mean, we talked about it. It's going to be great. Like, just get your popcorn ready, get your snacks, get your bevies. It's gonna deliver. It's gonna be must-see TV. And then look at this on Sunday. Sunday is stacked. 3 nationally televised games, a doubleheader on ABC, starting with Miami taking on Atlanta at 1 p.m., followed up by, as we just mentioned, Portland taking on Seattle at 3 p.m. Eastern. I mean, these are just sit back. I love this. I have no plans this weekend other than to sit
right?
my butt on the couch and watch a heck of a lot of soccer. But you know what else is this weekend, Stephen Keel?
I am very, yes, Sunday. Very, one of the most important holidays, I would say. Very, very, very big day.
A huge day. It is Mother's Day, you guys. Our moms are the best. And to be honest, I'm angry that they only get one day for us to celebrate them. Speaking of moms, look at your beautiful wife, Allie, and your adorable son, Cruz. I mean, this family, stop it. She is a rock star, by the way, Stephen Keel.
She is.
You really,
she is, absolutely.
Really hit the jackpot with that one. Gosh.
Absolutely.
Allie,
yeah,
happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to Allie, and then to my mom as well. So I have my beautiful wife.
What's her name? What's Mama's name?
Mom's name is Sue.
My mom's name
Keel.
is Sue.
What?
Yes.
That's great. And they probably are both equally as awesome. So, there you go. Oh, look at that.
Disney World. That's my mom. That's Susan. Yeah, that's Susan. She is the best. I know everyone says that their mom is the best, but and everyone's mom is the best. We can just all agree on that. But
absolutely.
I love her. She will watch this and be so excited that she's getting a shout out. Although she'll be like, "Why didn't you pick a better picture of me?" Even though she always looks
that's great. Moms are the best. Moms are the reason we're here. So moms
exactly.
Moms are the best. Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Make sure you go get your mom something. This is your reminder right now. You've got 2 days to sort it out. Get it done, people. But again, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out in group chat with me and Stephen Keel. Again, guys, please hit us up, reach out on the social medias, on the hotline, whatever. Tell us what's on your mind so we can talk about it next week and get some more awesome group chat banter, because that's what it's all about, right? Come on.
Yeah, just hit us anything. Whatever you want to talk about.
Anything.
We'll be here.
Anything. Enjoy the amazing soccer this weekend, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
See ya.